Yo, 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 Ram fans. With the Northern Lights in my background, I couldn't resist. It was beautiful last night. Didn't get a look at them tonight, but I'm just back from Moby. The Rams have moved their record to 3-0 with a 93-79 victory over the Cal Poly hacking Mustangs. Cheesy Mustangs. I'm not happy. I saw a comment here. We're just gonna go with this one right away. My favorite part of the game was when the refs kept making themselves known. This show would have started 15 minutes ago with competent officiating. There were 15 minutes over two reviews, both of which led to absolutely nothing, except for fouling Kyle Jorgensen out on when he did nothing. And anybody who thinks he did anything, I don't know what game they were watching. I'm just going to launch right now. The number of texts I got from people during the game, who are these guys? This is the worst. These refs need to get it together. Everybody was commenting. They were freaking horrible. The lead was Amy Bonner. Jason Phillips, who I think he might even work the Mountain West Championship game last year. Completely incompetent. Usually on a Wednesday night, you're going to get decent refs. It's usually Saturday when they're terrible. Well, these guys were terrible. And they were terrible. Let's just leave it at that. It was, and I'm not going to go off anymore on it. I was very disappointed they couldn't figure out the cheese ball moves by the other team. And yes, there were cheese ball moves. And I hope there's somebody from Cal Poly watching. Come on here and let me know what you think of your team. You're probably going to tell me they're great. They're cheese balls. The box outs on free throws, dirty little box outs, dirty little grabs. They were getting away with it all night until the last 10 minutes. Every cut CSU made through the lane, they would get grabbed. They finally started calling it. It was happening every possession. It got old. That game should have lasted 4 hours, and Cal Poly would have been down to two freaking players if they were calling fouls. Here we go. Aaron, don't get fined, Steve. I will say this. One ref named Jason Phillips. You know, our strength and conditioning guy is named Jason Phillips. And I looked at him coming off the floor tonight and I said, at least there's one good Jason Phillips here. And he laughed. He knew what I was talking about. So just unbelievable. So anyway, let's get to the game because the Rams were good, but I got to give Cal Poly credit for one thing. Those guys aren't afraid to shoot threes. And it's a style that is very, very conducive to staying in games against teams that they don't stack up against physically. They took 63 shots, made 14 of 36 threes to stay in the game. They were chucking them up from the cheap seats. And some of those guys were making everything. They made some tough shots. I give them credit. They made some tough shots. But it's a different style. We ended up matching them and exceeding them from three. That was the thing, is we were not afraid to shoot threes, and we outshot them. We made two more threes, shooting the same amount of shots. But it was a game that opened. CSU went out to a 10-point lead in the first half, jumped out to a quick 14-6, I think. We had 14 points in the first 4 minutes, and we missed two layups. Jevin Muniz and Carrie Booth both missed at the rim uncontested. We could have had 18 points in the first 4 minutes. We were just on fire as Pasquarelli came out firing, Rex Steiner came out firing. And then the game settled down and Cal Poly started shooting really, really well. And next thing you know, they're back into it and they're getting it down to 4, back to 8, down to 4. And it stayed very, very close in the first half. They led for a total of 0. CSU led for 38 minutes. The game was tied for 1 minute and 49 seconds. Cal Poly shooting well early, but their shooting kept them in the game. And they run a interesting. They move the ball around the perimeter, look for a mismatch, to take a jab step, make one screen, shoot a three, and it's just over and over and over again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's all it is. And they stay true to their game defensively. They just loaded up in the paint as soon as anybody from CSU touched the ball down low. They got a double team, and a weak side defender came and stood in the paint. And next thing you know, there's 5 guys in the paint, and they left very little room. And CSU struggled a little bit with that. They really mucked up the paint. I'll give them credit for that. They're not poorly coached. They're well coached, but I'll tell you, they're just a little cheesy, and they got what they wanted out of this game. They got their cheesiness to step to the forefront while CSU was trying to play the right way. I will say this right away. I told Ali's mom, Cindy Frederick, after the game, if Ali doesn't get a technical, I'm not sure we're ever. Yeah, after the game, I said if Ali didn't get a technical in this game, I'm not sure he'll ever get one. It was a game to. Here we go. Here's something. What was the technical to start the game? They had a scoreboard. A score book error that had to be corrected. CSU shot one free throw before the clock even started, was leading 1-0. The highlight of that, I have to tell you a funny story. I went to the game with my son, and a good friend of his bet the first half CSU over. The first half CSU over was 46 and a half. Kyle Jorgensen made a three to get it to 47 at the buzzer. That gave him the over, but he would not have had the over if they hadn't shot that free throw. So that free throw was very important to the over. But officials decided, well, since we gave them a point at the beginning of the game, we're going to spend 40 minutes keeping Cal Poly in the game. And it was absurd. It was just silly. CSU first half, it's hard for me to remember anything other than Kyle Jorgensen spent an awful lot of time on the bench. He played a total of 11 minutes, picked up a couple of fouls. Nicola Joppa came in, gave us some really good minutes. But the first half, what did Kyle play? Kyle played a total of 8 minutes. Nicola came in and played 11 good minutes, and was a +4, but it was really a lot of it was driven by our 3-point shooting. We shot 9 for 16 from 3, and that pushed us into the lead. The ball movement was good, and this is a team that's not afraid to fire. And there's a few things I'm going to talk about from a depth perspective. We ended up only 1.2 points per possession in the first half. I'm not sure what we had for the game. Let's see, 1.3 points per possession, which means they probably had about 1.1. When we get to the KenPom, you'll see that we fell from 62 to 66. We were supposed to win this game by 20. This team is undervalued. We'll pick up little nickels and dimes over the course of the season. Cal Poly's they're going to win some games that they're not supposed to. They won a road game against Seattle, their previous game, and Seattle is a middle of the pack WCC team. Seattle's in about 150 or 160, so good enough to win on the road against a 150, 160 team. They're sitting down around 250 in the KenPoms. They're going to end up in the 150 range by the end of the year. You can quote me on that. But CSU played well in the first half. They shot it well. Defensively, I'm gonna say. A little bit disappointing defensively in terms of I just don't think there's enough ball pressure. I'd like to see us just be a foot closer defensively. Second thing is I thought the communication was poor. There were times when Guy came over to help, and instead of staying and helping, ran away. And the primary defender thought he was getting help, and next thing you know, a guy's shooting a wide open layup at the rim. And that's communication. You've got to stop the ball. If you're going to come over and help, and you're playing a gap and you're going to come over and help, you have got to commit to helping. You can't just come over. You're doing nothing if you come over and then run away. I'm sorry, it's just way too quick. Need to be tougher, need to be more physical, need to complete that help with a physical move as opposed to just a fake slap, because you're caught in no man's land, and you won't get. And they would either let people get open for the layup or get back and not get back. As I said, the help defender wouldn't get back, and the guy'd be wide open for a three. So they need some work. That's the biggest area of concern. Is the defense, and the help they're just not quite connected. Last year's team got better over the course of the year. I'm counting on this team to get better, and I think it's there. And the thing that shows up, usually it's our depth that makes the defense better in the second half. We bring in guys off the bench like Jace Butler and JoJo McIver. They play really, really good defense when they come on. And I'll talk about Butler in terms of his offense, JoJo too. But their defense allows guys like Rex Steiner only having to play 26 minutes. Rex Steiner's defense gets better as the game goes on, and I think it's because he's just in great shape and he plays at the same speed, and other teams slow down. So, um, yeah, here we go. Ref said Cal Poly had a roster change after rosters would do. They had to buy the extra player. Sure could have used Mbemba setting screens. You know what? They would have done things that would have prevented him from rolling to the hoop for easy layups, and the referees weren't going to call it. I'm sorry. That's just I'm not going to stop on that. It was very disappointing what I saw today. So here we go. Sam, my buddy Sam, we might need to recruit more combo guards from New York City. Loving Pasquarelli's shooting and confidence. Jace looking more comfortable too. Our bigs appear to be out rebounded at time by a smaller team. I think fundamentally that's the one thing that impressed me most about Cal Poly is I thought fundamentally they were a pretty good rebounding team. And I haven't looked up their Ken Palm numbers, but I thought they were very, very good on the box outs, number one. And number two, if you noticed, whenever we went in the paint, they had five guys in the paint. They were going to have five guys ready to rebound, but there may have been a hold here or there. I'll talk about the Kyle Jorgensen play that put him out of the game. It was ridiculous. Two different stoppages of play. The first one was a double technical on Joppa when there was a jump ball when he was getting fouled and he decided to call a jump ball. And the Cal Poly guy kept on wrestling and wrestling and wrestling. And then Nicola decided to wrestle back. He had the ball. The Cal Poly guy wouldn't let go. They gave Nicola a technical foul. No free throws, but he picked up a foul. That was bogus. I'm sorry. That was nonsense. But they could have decided that since they were going to call a double technical, they didn't need 5 freaking minutes to make that call. They were just going to call it no matter. They weren't going to call anything against one team or the other. They were going to wait to do that in the second half. And they did. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, the second half started. And CSU came out slow, really struggled. It was the longest we've gone without scoring, I think, the entire season. And next thing you know, that 10-point lead was down to, it got down to 5. And then we got going, started, Pasquarelli took the lid off with a 3-pointer. We started going, pushed the lead back, and we started playing. Here we go. This is number 14 involved in both scrums. No kidding. And of course, he was crying afterward. I didn't do any, I don't do anything wrong. My hands up. I didn't do anything. Those guys were full of crap. I'm sorry. That's the way they're coached. That's the way they play. They're cheesy. I hope somebody, well, let's see. In the Big West, who are they going to play? They'll play Cal Irvine. I hope Kyle Evans, ex-CSU big man, knocks the crap out of him. I really hope he does. Anyway, we started playing better. We pushed the lead back. And next thing you know, and then they cut it back, and it got to it went down to a 3-point game before the Rams really locked in, and you started seeing the bench come in. Guys like McIver and Butler came in. Kiadulis came in. Joppa came in, and we pushed the lead back, and we completely busted the game open to 16 points. And then it happened. All right. There was a shot. It was a 3-point. I believe we made a 3-pointer. Yeah, it was a 3-pointer from the corner, and Kyle Jorgensen got wrestled to the ground. And the guy kept on wrestling and actually kind of went after Kyle on the ground. They were going after Kyle. They knew who the player of the week was. They knew who the big was that they had to stop, and they were doing everything they can to get fouls called on him. And they pulled him to the ground, wrestled. The guy was wrestling. He kicked Kyle. Kyle took exception with it. JoJo McIver came over and took exception with it. And the end result, I sent a text to my buddies. The end result was we got screwed. I said, we're going to get screwed in this. I just know we're going to get screwed. And what was the decision? Double foul on Kyle Jorgensen and number 14. and a technical foul on Kyle Jorgensen, giving them 2 free throws and the ball. So it was a 10-minute review to come up with that. They have no idea what they're watching during the game. They have no idea that a team is cheesing it up. That's what they're trying to do, and the referees fell for it. They make that decision. They take 10 minutes, take all the momentum from CSU, and before you know it, that 16-point lead is down to 8. We were ready to blow that game, blow the doors right off of that game, and we sat for 10 minutes. And that's what that team was hoping for. That's what that coach specifically was hoping for. And that's how he wanted his second half to go. He knew he couldn't stay with us, so he's going to cheese it up any way he could. Now, when I talk cheesy, the thing that really drives me crazy, there are dirty plays that are made that are indefensible by the offensive player. There's nothing you can do. And when you're shooting a free throw and you expect somebody to box you out, you expect them to stand in front of you, maybe make a little contact, but you do not expect them to box you out on the other side of the free throw line and come after you as you're on the other side of the free throw line and hit you while you're watching the ball, while you have to wait for the ball to hit the rim. They're allowed in the rim, they're allowed in the lane, and they're hitting while that ball is still in the air on the other side of that free throw line. That's a bullshit play. I'm sorry. You can hurt somebody. You can get somebody standing there, and that's crap. I'm sorry. That's coached, all right? I guarantee you that's coached, that they let people get away with that. Here's Aaron. Aaron here, I had a comment here. I don't think we'll be seeing, I hope we never see Cal Poly again. I wouldn't play them. They're full of shit. They really are. Guys on the ground, they get you on the ground, they try and do things to you. That's not basketball. That is basketball. That's 1890s basketball. That's why they called them cagers. They'd lock bunch of animals in the cage and go out and beat the crap out of each other. Well, they had the refs on their side. They were playing it the right way. Do I think we need to be tougher? Fundamentally with defense, yes, but there's no way you can put up with the nonsense. So, I mean, I'm tired of that stuff. Here we go. Missing wide open players, missing shots, shot ourselves in the foot. We made a lot of shots too. So I think all in all, we shot pretty well. I think we need Big Papa Pump courtside. Yeah, I'd love to see Scott Steiner courtside staring down Jason Phillips. The guy, do you realize, and I'll tell you something that happened, and this is another thing that bothers me. There was a guy in the first half that was fouled shooting 3 free throws, okay? And his follow through took him into the lane before the ball hit the rim. And that's a violation. But because it wasn't a live ball, he went over and cautioned the guy not to go into the lane. He saw it. He actually saw the guy go into the lane after shooting a free throw and let it count, instead of saying, that doesn't count. That's crap. That's poor officiating. I'm sorry. And then the number of times he stood and had to have conversations instead of saying, there was a play in the let's see, it must have been it was in the second half. They whacked Jorgensen's arms, knocked the ball away, had a steal, and the guy dribbled it off his foot out of bounds. 2 seconds left on the shot clock, but they reset the shot clock to 20. Cal Poly coach comes over, starts whining, and all Jason Phillips had to do was walk over and say, the ref who called it said he had possession. They get 20 seconds on the clock. Instead, he spent a minute explaining it and telling why, walked back to the ref, walked back to the coach, took an extra minute. It was nonsense. Those refs, I don't know what they're thinking, but they have their game management skills, absolute garbage. I hope they never, put it this way. There's people who are at that game saying, I haven't seen this bad in 10 years in Moby. I had people screaming for Vern Harris. That's how bad it was. So it was, I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm at a loss. I have never, well, I shouldn't say I've never seen anything like it. They called that game like they bet on it. And with all the betting going on and all the stuff going on, somebody needs to check them. I'm sorry. They were awful. Anyway, lead goes down to 8. And next thing you know, we're pushing it back and we're pushing it back and we get it to 22 and we're cruising. And we use our depth. We make subs. Ali took a really good timeout. The lead was down. We were dragging and the lead was down to about 16. he took a timeout with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, maybe just inside of 5 minutes. And it was a really good timeout. Got some people on the floor, and we dominated the next 2 minutes. Pushed the lead up to 22. The final score of 14 flatters them. If we were playing for Ken Pomeroy rankings, we probably would have left some players in, but we didn't. We put in Darnell Slater and John McConan, who deserved to play. We're up 20 points, and Cal Poly scored the last 8 of the last 10 points to get back to 14. The final score flattered them. It was a 20-point game. We played very, very, very well. We shot it well. The one thing, and we've talked about it, we were connected. Offensively, this is an absolute juggernaut offensively. And so you go and you look over the course of the game. We only shot 48.3%, but 44.4% from three, 19 for 20 from the free throw line. We are now, I'll pull it up, we've got to be shooting 90% on the season. It's extraordinary the way this team shoots free throws. It's really, really, really good. Assists, 25 assists on 29 made field goals. You can do the math. 1.3 points per possession, absolutely devastating offense. 5 guys in double figures, led by Josh Pasquarelli. We saw the comment by Sam earlier. We need to get more combo guards from New York. Well, Josh was really, really good. Josh, I remember seeing I think it was Evan Miyakawa, who does stats, came out with a chart that said, here's the 25 guys who I expect will be great 3-point shooters on high volume over the course of the season. And Josh Pasquarelli's name wasn't there. And this is a guy who's a 40% shooter last year, was 45 most of the year. And he's playing in a very Josh Pasquarelli friendly offense where he's going to get a lot of threes. And he's shooting, basically, he's getting, eight a game and making 50%. That's 4 a game over the course of the year. He's got a chance to make well over 100 threes. But you didn't just see him firing from 3. He ended up 6 for 13, 8 for 17 from the field. So 2 for 4 on his twos. He had a beautiful alley-oop dunk, and I think it was, I can't remember who threw it. Was it Jevin? Jevin Muniz? I think Jevin might have thrown it, but an alley-oop dunk as he was cutting on the baseline. Absolutely perfect. It might have been Carey Booth. I don't know. It was somebody. It was a play that really was hard to see, and he saw him, and Josh, showing his athleticism, absolutely hammered it down. So he played 34 minutes. He played more minutes than anybody. He was a plus 15. Only had 1 rebound, 1 assist, but he was there to do one thing, and that was put the ball in the basket. So 22 points. Great game for Pasquarelli. But the other guys, Carey Booth, we saw a game out of Carey Booth today where absolutely mature, missed a couple of shots around the rim. He's going to get better in that. I'm real happy that they're trying to go inside to Carey. It's not an area, it's not his comfort zone, and he needs to get outside of his comfort zone and get inside and do his thing, because he can get to the free throw line. And as you can see, he shot 7 free throws, made 6 of them, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 9 on the defensive glass. He was absolutely he was big on the defensive glass. Another double for Carey Booth in only 25 minutes. Played a really, really good game. And I saw Calvin afterward, and I looked at him and I said, his dad Calvin, I said, Calvin, I'm so glad he's here, but what's funny is Carey's just scratching the surface. He is going to get there. Wait till you see what this young man becomes. He doesn't look like he plays with a lot of passion. You don't see a lot of emotion. that young man really plays hard, and he's starting to figure it out. And when you're averaging a double double for the season over the first three games, we're starting to see what his potential is. But as I said, just scratching the surface. Uh, Brandon Recksteiner and Jace Butler both with 13. Recksteiner 3 for 9 on his threes, missed a bunch of his last ones. Uh, he he took a couple that I wish he had. Yeah, it's kind of funny the way the offense was working. There was a lot of dribbling. That was a lot of what the defense was dictating, and a lot of what they're trying to do was force double teams and then kick the ball. There were times when they took some early threes. I wish they would have been a little more patient. I thought Brandon takes about one early three every game, and I'd like to see him focus more on taking the late three off of catch and shoot and getting the ball off a catch and shoot, because he's really good on the catch and shoot. He had a good game. I'm not being critical. He had a really good game. Plus 18. Led the Rams plus 18. The other one, Jace Butler, coming off the bench. We started seeing signs of Jace in the last game. I think he had 5 points, but I have talked about this kid a lot. This kid could start for a lot of teams. Remember, I think he was just outside the top 100 in the class of 2024, recruited originally by Illinois, ended up getting out of his letter of intent when one of the coaches left that had recruited him, and went to Washington, and didn't play a lot at Washington last year. And so he was very, very excited to come to CSU. He had been recruited by Ali, and when he got the offer, it was actually between CSU and San Francisco, and he decided he was going to give Colorado a shot. And this is a kid who could start, but he's coming off the bench. And I talked about him being, he is the ultimate player to come off the bench, because he can play a variety of positions. You can play him at the 1, you can play him at the 2, and you can play him at the 3. 20 minutes tonight, plus 13, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3, made all his free throws, 5 defensive rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, as a career high for CSU. I don't think he scored 13 all year in Washington. I'm sure that's a career high. So, and then the 5th player in double figures is Augie Kiadulis, and Augie played 18 minutes. Really, as the game went on, started getting a better feel for what was going on with Cal Poly. Of course, went to the free throw line 6 times, made all 6, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 1 from 3. The thing, and I want to talk about the 3-pointers, because this team is absolutely devastating when it comes to 3-pointers. And 16 for 36. We'll take 44% every game, shooting that many of them, and that's an awful lot of threes. A few too many. We had trouble getting inside. Part of that was Jorgensen's foul trouble. Part of that is not having Rashawn. Part of that was Joppa foul trouble too. We only got 28 minutes out of our 5s today, out of 40. So we had to conjure up lineups that had Augie at the 5 and Kerry Booth at the 5. And so we were having trouble scoring, getting inside and scoring at the hoop like we normally do with our bigs. So maybe a little bit too much in terms of 2-pointers. Some of that was dictated by the foul trouble. But I want to make one point. If you look at the number of players that made threes, we had 8 players. We had basically a 9-man rotation. 8 of the 9 made threes. Nikola Joppa is the only one who didn't, and he didn't shoot a 3. He probably would have figured out a way to make one if he wasn't getting stupid fouls called on him by Amy Bonner and Jason Phillips, and I don't even know the 3rd rep. You know, one of these days we'll get I looked it up in Ken Palm. All those guys are like 150 or above in terms of ref ranking. None of them are any good. Wednesday night, you would expect somebody better. But anyway, devastating offense, 5 in double figures. Jevon Muniz, 5 points, didn't shoot it so well today, but I've talked about him and how important he is to this team, the ultimate connector. 7 rebounds, 7 assists. one steal, only one turnover. Um, it was he'll shoot it better. I don't worry about that. I mean, he missed a wide open layup where he looked like he wanted to gather for a dunk and then changed his mind that he didn't have his steps. And then how did he miss the layup? I think I have to tease him. I met his mom and dad, by the way. They're in town. They live in Jevon. Jevon grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They now live in Florida. They came out for the week, and I got to meet them. And I learned that we don't pronounce it Muniz, it's Muniz. So Jevon Muniz. I've got it right. I hope I got it right. Anyway, Jevon played a really, really good floor game, but the other one was JoJo McIver. JoJo made his first three, but JoJo played an unbelievable floor game. JoJo is our best perimeter defender. He's only a freshman. And as I said, the guys like Pasquarelli and Rex Steiner, Butler, they're good defenders. They get better as the game goes on. Their physical conditioning, the bench helps out. And Rex Steiner had a really, really good possession late where he bodied up on the guy and made a guy miss a tough 10-footer. But JoJo is really, really good on the ball, gets in a stance, gets maybe a little closer, maybe just a tad more ball pressure. 5 points on only 1 for 4 shooting, made a couple of free throws, but 2 rebounds and 6 assists. Part of those 25 assists, 6 of them from JoJo, the freshman. I turned to somebody and I said, if Isaiah Stevens could play defense like JoJo, he would have been a first-round draft choice with his offensive skills. JoJo has a little more. JoJo's a good playmaker. JoJo's offense will come. He's decent. He's good. He just hasn't quite learned how to pick his spots. It takes a little time in this offense when you're a freshman. Kyan Evans had a similar kind of issue where Kyan really didn't quite understand how to get to the hoop and then finally started figuring out. Once JoJo figures out a way to get to the basket, he'll be absolutely devastating. But this was again a team effort. 4, 5, 6, all nine that were in the rotation scored. Only Darnez and John McConan didn't score. They only played the final 2 minutes. So anyway, it was a great offensive performance. Let me pull up KenPom. Let's take a look at the box score. I should put it up for you guys. Let's see what comments. This is a really good comment. I feel like the players' roles on the team are starting to come into focus, and minutes are getting figured out. The interesting thing regarding this comment, my face is frozen. What's going on? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? I don't know. Let me do a quick. Okay, I'm back. Sound is great. I was frozen. I don't like being frozen. By the way, I just upgraded my stuff at home to faster data, and so it should be even the stream should be even better. Anyway, this comment, we're still without Rashawn Mbemba, and I don't know if Rashawn is going to make it back for Loyola or not. I'm hoping he does. That's the last step to this whole team right now. I mean, there's still a lot of season to go, and there's still things that can happen and things that can change. But I also like the way it's starting to come into focus. You see a really, really powerful starting lineup, and they start the games well. They really do. We start a little bit in the second half coming out, but we have started games and been really, really good offensively, and the ball movement is good, and so it's a great starting lineup. And then you look at the guys coming off the bench, and they are really figuring out their roles. Look at Augie. Augie's been in double figures the last 2 games. Kyle Jorgensen is meant to be more a coming off the bench kind of player when Rashawn comes back, and it remains to be seen how that rotation is going to go. I don't know. We'll see how the rotation goes. But I assume Rashawn will get in. We'll get a little better defensively with Rashawn. Um, but Kyle is really, really good, and we know how Nicola is doing in the five. We might see more of Kyle at the four. We may not. Augie and Carey are figuring out. We got 26 points out of the four position today, and 16 rebounds. that's that's pretty devastating. So we'll see. But then the other part is the guards. The fact that you got JoJo can come in for Rex Steiner and spell him. JoJo can come in and play with Butler as the two. Butler can come in for Jevin at the three and stay out there with Pasquarelli. And you have guys, Butler's a big guard. He's 6'4" and about 200 pounds, so he can guard some pretty big guys. And so defensively, we have some pretty good guys. The guards coming off the bench, and like I said, we're going to get to the point where we have basically 10 guys, and like I said, the comment was good. We're starting to figure it out. Ali's, they're really doing a good job. And this offense, like I said, is devastating. JoJo's going to have a coming out game. JoJo had a coming out game, I think, the last game, even though he didn't score very much. He's doing really. He gets a lot of rebounds. He's really, really smart, really, really intelligent. Defensively, he's got long arms. His length is fantastic. Here we go. This is the Ken Palm, 13th in 2-point percentage, and we didn't shoot our twos very good today. 17th in 3-point possession, 5th in free throw percentage, 4th in effective field goal percentage. That is absolutely sensational. Let me bring the Ken Palm up. We can all take a look at it. I don't want to hog it. You know what I mean? There we are. There we are. Let's take a look at it. Who did well? A lot of guys in double figures. They played 4, 5, 6, 7. They played 9. They basically played 10 guys as well. 35. We out rebounded them 38-35. They were out rebounding us at halftime. Oh, here's the referees. Tariq Lewis. I have never seen that guy. He did Air Force last night. Wonderful. Wisconsin, Northern Illinois. UC Roof, yeah, what a bum. Jason Phillips, I think he did Boise. No, Montana. He did Montana UNLV. He decided he must be. Oh God, I don't know what he does, but he's awful. And Amy Bonner, I think, was in Boise last. No, yeah, Boise. She was in Boise last night. So they all came from different places, never working together. Amy Bonner was the lead ref, and she's the lowest ranked ref, and so her game management skills awful. Anyway, look at the Rams in terms of offensive rating. Josh Pasquarelli got the MVP from Ken Pomeroy, but the three players that stand out are three bench players. Look at the efficiency, the O rating. Jace Butler 140, Augie Kiadulis 159, JoJo McIver 156. That's kind of a breakout game. If you get a guy, he doesn't have to score a lot of points. He gets 5 points and 6 assists in a bench role. He'll be in the top 5 in the Mountain West in assists. Jevin might end up in the top 5 as well. The assist totals on this team are outrageous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with 3 or more assists. I think, and I'll look this up. I'll probably talk about this on tomorrow night's show. I think we have 5 guys averaging 3 assists a game, which is unbelievable at this level. This isn't the NBA where you take a shot every 12 seconds. There's a lot fewer possessions. So it's unbelievable. Assists 13 out of on 25 made field goals, only 48% assist rate versus our assist rate of 86%. I'm assuming that our assist rate must be way up to somewhere near the lead. Let's see where we are. Assist rate. We are 5th in assist rate at 73.6%. That is sharing the basketball. Let's see how Minnesota's doing compared to us. I would assume they're up there. Wyoming is up there. Look at that. That's scary. So Wyoming is sharing the ball. They didn't share it worth a damn last year. Minnesota is going to be high. That's Nico. Minnesota at 22nd at 68%. Did they get the win tonight? They lost to Missouri. They got murdered by Missouri. Oh well. Not so good for Nico. But anyway, there's the totals. There's the effective field goal percentage, fourth, turnover percentage. We don't force a lot of turnovers. We were decent today, better in the first half than we've been all year. I think we forced 12 turnovers in the first half, but we're really good on the glass. Defensive rebounding is really good, 12th in the nation. Free throw percentage, we're playing great free throw defense, holding the other team to 63% while shooting 89.2% on free throws. And that's on a lot of attempts. We've probably shot 80 free throws. We're shooting almost 90% on 80 free throws. Do the math. We're probably about 72 for 80. So that's pretty good. Anyway, we're shooting a lot of threes. We're fifth in the country in number of threes as a percentage of field goal attempts. We also allow 54%. That's okay. I don't mind if you can stop them. We're giving up a high percentage of points from the three-point line. 45% of the points against us are from the three-point line. We do a really good job at defending the twos. I'd like to see our defense get a little stickier on the perimeter, force guys into twos, and then the help defense needs to get better over time. I hope that develops. We keep getting better offensively. Everybody keeps coming into the fray. Like I said, we got 9 guys that are cooking, and when Rashawn comes in, we'll have 10. But defensively, this team has got to get better if we want to get better. We're 124th defensively. We're 29th offensively, and I guarantee you we're better than that, because that number is still, that has remnants of predictions at the beginning of the year. It does not have it's not just 3 games. There's not enough data points to really get it. We're actually really cooking offensively, and we'll be a top 10 offensive team if this continues. Here we go, John in Spokane. Great 3-point shooting. Even so, ball needs more energy at times. A lot of dribbling today. I thought that the first 2 games we passed the ball a little more, but I think that was driven again. We wanted to attack their defense a little differently, and there were times when guys were driven into crowds, and my wife is demanding that I shout. I did. We shouted them out. There we go. Anyway, all good now. We're all good. Anyway, it was a good win. I told you I was gonna. I usually try and do a predict a score before the game, and just so I can, when I do the banner, I like to get a head start on it and try, and if I can if I predict the score exactly right, then all I have to do is put in the players' stats. And so I've got to show you what my score prediction was. I wasn't far off in terms of the final margin. I didn't think we'd score as many. I had it 85 to 69. I had the final margin at 16. The final margin ended up at 14 because they scored a bucket with 10 seconds to go or 8 seconds to go or whatever. They were cheesy. What can I say? They could have held the ball. They didn't. They could have held it, but no, they were going to shoot. I'm surprised they didn't press us on the inbounder. I'm surprised the coach didn't take a timeout. Cheese ball. Anyway, before I go, if you have any other thoughts, feel free to share them right now. I love the comments. It's fun to be interactive. I know this is CSU basketball. However, any thought of the CSU football game Saturday? I sent a comment to somebody. I go back and forth with somebody who is a big CSU fan, but has a kid who's at the University of New Mexico. Sent me a picture of his kid at the basketball game behind Snake yesterday. Those of you who follow New Mexico basketball know who Snake is. Anyway, his son, picture right behind Snake. And I said, he said, going to the game on Saturday, and I said, tell your son he's going to see Haley's Comet. Um, New Mexico hasn't beaten. It's about every 76 years that New Mexico beats CSU, and they are going to absolutely beat up on the Rams. I'm sorry, Tim. I'm sorry, Tim. I got to tell you something. I saw your comments. Tim's a great fan, and Tim sent me a comment on the last stream about wanting me to do more women's basketball, and I sent back a note and I said, I just don't have the bandwidth. And I've talked about this before. I really want to. I try and do a lot of in-depth stuff, and I really enjoy getting in depth into all the stuff with all you guys. And I just don't have the time to devote to the women's team. I just think I'd just be superficial, and for me, that would be the word of the day: cheesy. I don't want to do it. But Tim, you inspired me, and I reached out to somebody who would have been unbelievable if I could have gotten her to do it. And I won't mention who it is, but she is way too busy, unfortunately. And she said, thank you for thinking of me, but gracefully said, I just don't have the time to do it. And I would have loved to have had her do one show a week. I would have done all the production for her. I would have figured out a way to do all her graphics, and it would have added to the show. So Tim, I actually tried. I don't know if I can find somebody that's as talented as this person would be. And if you're smart, you can probably get. I'm not gonna reveal her name, but if you're smart, you can probably put two and two together as to women around CSU right now. No, it's not Amy Parsons, but Jen Warden, bring her on the show. She's probably working for CU raising money. Anyway, will it be? Here's a comment here. Will it be good for Rams to get tough road tests? It will be good, Lee. And I'm going to be going, provided no flight cancellations. I'm nervous. I'm flying out Sunday morning. My flight is at 7:45 a.m. Gets in about 11:30, quarter to 12, I think. I'm flying into Midway, not O'Hare. I know they have some level of cancellations. No, it's not Becky either, Tim. I wish that would have been fun, huh? Can you imagine Becky doing a weekly show on my on my channel? That would be awesome. I'd love to have her. Here's a guest, Susie. No, it's somebody who works for CSU. You can figure it out. Anyway, I'm flying, and my bigger concern is my flight I'm going to go to the game. It starts at 4. It'll end about 6, as long as we don't have Amy Bonner and Jason Phillips doing 10-minute reviews twice a game. And I have a 9:45 flight out of Midway that puts me in at about 11 something, and I'll be home about 1 in the morning, and then doing my Monday morning cup of coffee show at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I'm nervous that flight's going to get canceled. So one of those flights could get canceled. So I'm Joey B running the skies. No worries. Well, Joey B, that scares the hell out of me, John. Anyway, I am going to be going, but I won't be doing a post-game show. I haven't figured out a way. To do it from the airport. If I could, well, we'll see. I will say this: there is a chance I might have to do it live from the airport. If I can get there in time, I will try. But if not, we'll talk a little bit about the game on the Monday morning cup of coffee show. I don't have my guest yet, but we'll have a good guest. I had Brian Roth on Monday, and it was awesome. It was so much fun having Brian. But I am doing my Swallowpalooza Thursday show tomorrow night, and I have great guests lined up. You'll be pleased to know the invite went out to my text group that we text with during the game, and it involves 2 Ram Nation regulars, Mike Rowe and Joel Cantalamessa, and my buddy Luke Kingsley. Mike is a definite. Cam's chorizo. Mike is a definite for tomorrow night. Joel, his wife is trying to drag him somewhere at 7 o'clock. So he's telling me he's probably not going to be able to make it. We're trying to shame him. And Luke actually has a job that makes him work at night. He may have a meeting, but he'll try and make it as well. But the other thing I'm going to do, we're not just going to talk CSU hoops with Mike and whoever of the other two can come on. By the way, they're known as the Swola Cabal. So we will now refer to them, the three of them, as and myself as the Swola Cabal. But the other person coming on is, if you noticed, it was signing day today, and CSU signed 3 players to the class of 2026. They signed a young man named Jaden Gureshi out of Spokane, Washington, 6'9", 220. Forward, this is a very versatile athletic player. They signed a kid named Gregory Pops Dunson. I'm going to find out, well, at some point we're going to find out the nickname Pops, out of Georgia. I can't remember what his hometown is in Georgia, but they're both ranked about 180 in the national rankings, 2 of the highest ranking recruits that CSU has ever gotten. Dynamite players. Dunson is a 6-foot guard that can score. So if you think guys like Pasquarelli can light it up, this kid Greg Dunson, he can shoot, and Ali loves him. So, but the third is a Colorado kid named Eric Fiedler, 6'7" forward out of Regis Jesuit, the number 1 recruit out of the state of Colorado. We've talked about Ali doing work in Colorado. Eric is going to come on the show tomorrow, so we're going to spend about 10 or 15 minutes with Eric. We're going to get to know Eric tomorrow night. I told him I would wait until the paperwork was in. I got to confirm that the paperwork was in, and I contacted him, and he's going to come on tomorrow night. So I'm excited to have him. And then I haven't reached out to Gureshi yet, but I did reach out to Gregory Dunson, and Gregory's going to come on as well. We'll get to find, not tomorrow night, but hopefully the following Thursday. I am going to have at some point, and I'm going to try and do it next Thursday. I kind of set it up last month, but there's a guy who does a Sacramento Kings, Locked On Kings podcast. And I reached out to him, and he said he'd love to come on and talk about Nick Clifford and Isaiah Stevens and the Sacramento Kings. So we're going to find out. We'll get an update next Thursday of how Neek's looking from somebody who is basically following them up close and personal. I know a lot of people probably watched Neek last night. 5 points in about 15 minutes, couple of assists, couple of rebounds. He was a +9 in that game. He's learning, so he's getting there. Anyway, Swole Nation, we go. Joey, I'm not allowed on any YouTube shows. My Jersey accent requires too many close. Jaden Gureshi's from Mount Spokane High School, favorite new local team. I don't know if you heard. Here we go. Oh, that's oh, what's his? I know who you're talking. It's not Vernon. It's the guy. He was a coordinator under Craig Bowl for a while at Wyoming, and went up to Montana State. He's a good coach. That's a good rumor. That is a good rumor. Timothy O'Hara, thank you so much for that. Brent Vidgen, that's who it is, right? Brent Vidgen. I don't think it's pronounced vegan. I think it's Vidgen. Anyway, very good coach. Montana State's been a top 5 program since he went up there. Comment on Pops. It looks like a grown dude already. This kid is he's a top young player who's recruited by Auburn. He could have played in the SEC. It's going to be really, really good. Here we go. This is overtime tonight. I am interested in Mountain West scores. I assume the other ones went well. Nevada had to go overtime against Southern Illinois. Yeah, there we go. Brent Vidgen, Montana State. That would be a good hire. I don't ask. One of the things I have learned, I usually run into John Weber post game, and we know each other. We say hello to each other. John's a great guy. but I have learned that I don't ever ask him any insider questions because he's going to look at me and say the same thing every time. Steve, you know I can't tell you that. So I don't even bother anymore. Anyway, it's that would be an interesting hire. Hopefully, he can do a good job of bringing in a talent base and keeping a secure talent base. What's really interesting, and I'm sure you guys notice this, we've got guys committing left and right, and we don't have a head coach. So there's stuff going on behind the scenes, and who knows what's going on. But we got to get it turned around, gang. We've got the basketball team cooking. Things are looking good. Fresno beat again. Oh, God, don't even. That's nonsense. They should be better than that. Mark Driscoll to Joey B. I don't want to talk about that. So I do remember the circumstances of that. We bought ourselves out of a game with, who was it? Was it Southern Cal? We took a buyout to get out of a game, and Joey B went up to Mark Driscoll in a tailgate tent before one of the football games back it was probably about 2008 or whatever, and said, "How much did we get out of that, Mark?" And Mark turned to Joey and said, "I don't want to talk about that." I think Joey had already patted him on the ass at that point. It was classic. We had a good laugh for 5 years over that. We're still talking about it almost 20 years later. I go back a long way with my buddy Joe from New Jersey, from Summit, New Jersey, Chatham, New Jersey. Is it Chatham? It's Chatham, right? Not Summit, or is it Summit? I had two friends from Duke. One went to Summit, one went to Chatham, and I can never remember which one Joey was from, but he's from one of them. So it might be the only one of the few people in America that believes this, but CSU should not have gone to the Pac-12. They should have stayed in the Mountain West. I disagree, but I'm a basketball fan, Tim. I love to be in a conference with Gonzaga. And someday we'll pull New Mexico. They'll get their football act together, and we'll pull New Mexico, and we'll wave bye-bye to Las Vegas. Chatham Township. Okay, Chatham. My buddy John Lurch from the tennis team. He's a really good tennis player. Was from Chatham. Anyway, tomorrow night, join me, Mike Rowe, possibly Joel, and Luke, and we'll talk CSU basketball, and then as I said, Eric Fiedler coming on. We're gonna have a great show, but I'm gonna call it a night. My dogs are ready to go to sleep. They hear my voice and they stay awake. So thank you everybody for joining us. This is fun. I love this. I love doing my post game. Once again, Colorado State 93-79 over the Cal Poly cheesy Mustangs. I just remembered something. I'm gonna tell you a story. This will make your day. This will tie everything together with the Mustangs, the horses, and the cheesiness. I could bring my sister on right now, and if I asked her, "Do you remember the name of my rocking horse when I was 4 years old?" she would say, "Steve, his name was Cheesy. And the reason I named him Cheesy was for some reason I thought he smelled like cheese." That's the tie-in. The Mustangs, cheesy. They brought me back to the age of 4. I was on my rocking horse. They were cheesy. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. It's been fun. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Go Rams.